Sorry, I was trying to play a clip there, but it wouldn't play it. Oh. Aloha, friends. So I'm still waiting on Kelly. I don't know if she doesn't know what the time difference is or something, but she's not here yet. Hopefully she'll join us soon. But let me say some hellos. Hi, Jamie, Wandering Mountain Bardic Path, and Beth, Asphasia Rising, and Taro Stash. Aloha, Gerald. Thank you guys for being here. Hopefully she'll join us soon. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Kelly Burton has created a trilogy of decks. It started with the Journey of the Sacred Bee Tarot, followed by the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. And today we were going to be talking about the newest sister bee, keeper of the Sacred Bee Tarot. So, where to even start? Let me show you some of the cards I pulled out. Aloha, Peter J. Watts. Welcome. So hopefully Kelly will join us soon. So a lot of it is based on the RWS with her own little twist to things, right? I mean, most of it is very similar to RWS in a lot of ways. With, you know, I mean, I really love this card for Hangman. It's amazing. But then there's some, that's another gorgeous card. Some of my favorites. So very RWS, but then, so this is like the Two of Cups. And then here's the Three of Cups, where we have three bees with full honey jars. So interesting, right? Four of Wands is a beehive surrounded by lavender with the earth on top. So celebrating the bees, I'm guessing. You get like things like Nine of Wands here, where you get like a cracked lion's head instead of a person standing there. So definitely a very interesting, unique deck. There's a lot of parallels to RWS, but then there's also very unique takes on things, like the Lovers here. Right. Does anyone have any specific cards you'd like to see? Peter J. Watt says, I love my bee girls. Yes. We all got to love our bees, right? The cool thing here on Maui is I've seen a lot of people have set up beehives, just like wild beehives, just to encourage bees. And then I also know a lot of people plant not perennials, but like the flowering plants and that kind of stuff that bees are attracted to. And because it's Maui, of course, we get flowers all year round. Sip, sip. Oh, I have it split up into the suits. I have some cards to talk about and some things I have questions about. But we'll see. Our indigenous pollinators are so important. Very true. All right, show you the Lovers. Let's look at the Empress and Emperor together. This is a very interesting dynamic. The Emperor is the beekeeper. There's lots of cards with a beekeeper in here, though. Like most of the court cards are beekeepers. But the Empress is very pale, and it's almost like she's pregnant, but she's pregnant with flowers and bees. An interesting dichotomy of like actual physical pictures with drawings and fabric. I just noticed something on the emperor that I didn't notice before. I don't know if you can even see it, but he's got the symbol for the Masons on his shoulder. Very interesting. That's why I wanted Kelly here to ask you these questions. So Soul Star says the Empress looks almost like a ghost or statue. Moon. The moon and 8 of Cups. Okay. Moon is right here. Here's the moon. Very interesting, because there's like the moon, it's like, is this the moon or is that the moon? And then, yeah, it's very interesting. He said 8 of Cups. So, that's a pretty one. Going into the forest, it looks like. Do we know if the Empress is a specific person in Kelly's life? Good question. Let's look at the book and see if it says anything for that Empress. The Empress is the goddess Venus. She is the fertile and creative force. Wait, let me find it again. She is the fertile and creative force that is Mother Earth. She gives birth to the beauty that grows and flows around her, making the space for all things to flourish freely. Creating her vase of bees, she will release them to the world to do her bidding, to pollinate the vegetation, creating abundance and beauty. She ensures that all of the elements around her, the stream, the soil, the flowers, and the filtered sunlight, are the perfect atmosphere for life to thrive. Love conquers all. And then, there, of course, because it's Venus, there's a Venus flytrap right there. Well, there are 3 spots of the moon in the movie. Yeah, that's true. Honey is pretty, Peter says, honey is pretty solar to me, and the number of 3 and 6 are prevalent with bees. I find the numerology interesting. Let's see. There was, the other thing that was interesting is instead of pages, we have princesses. And this one, I was going to ask her about this Princess of Cups. It almost looks like she's reaching into the water to capture the fish in her cup, instead of just having the fish in her cup. So that's an interesting view of it. And then you get stuff like 9 of Swords. Like, huh? Where's, what? I'm a little confused by this one. I know what the 9 of Swords means, but I'm not necessarily seeing it in this image. And then I had a little stack of 5 here with my where she's releasing the fish. That's a good point of view. So yeah, I have a few other random questions here. Like, I love justice, but why is there a kitten? There's a little kitten peering around justice here. Yes, Beth. These cards are gorgeous. They really are. And then like 10 of Pentacles is all about family, right? And here we have Tree of Life over someone who's laying prone. It's a gorgeous image. And the High Priestess's skirt. Let's see. Let me pull that out. Jamie was asking about the words Latin in the High Priestess's skirt. Huh, I'm not seeing it. There's the Torah on the book. The colors just pop. That's for sure. Yes, Beth, this is the 10 of Pentacles. It's like she's awash in honey. She's floating down a honey river or something. I'm not exactly sure what's going on in this picture. I'm sorry, Jamie, but I am not seeing the words. The only word I'm seeing is that it's supposed to be Torah, but it's Tarot on the book. And then, of course, she's got her hand here with honey dripping off of it. And the Peter says, and the dots remind me of sequential photos of bee flight. Yes. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Now I'm going to be obsessively looking for the words, Jamie. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. Another interesting one for me is the Five of Swords. Oh, let me take that down. Oh, Justice. Okay. The one we were just looking at, of course. Sorry, Jamie. You sure it was Justice? Because I'm not seeing words here either. Aloha, Ange. Ange D. Yeah, anyone else see? Maybe it's someone else's skirts you're thinking of? She's sending me down a rabbit hole without meaning to. Well, let me go back to showing some of the ones I have questions about. Aloha, Jean. Welcome. So in this one, Five of Swords. What? A beautiful image. Gorgeous imagery. And I love how her skin's kind of almost purple. It's very interesting because the sunflowers are just slowly opening. Got the dragonfly decals on the side here. Then up here, you got some sunflowers that looks like they've already been picked and are dying. I guess that's the symbolism here. And then maybe those bees are flying off with those swords. Interesting. Happy Taco Tuesday, says Jean. A couple other ones I had questions about. We have the star. Very dark image here, but it's also kind of pretty, and I don't know. It's very, what is that symbol on her arm? Let me see if I can get it. There we go. You see that symbol here on her arm? I almost didn't even notice it until I held it up to the camera. I will need to get a magnifying glass. It looks like a sigil of some kind. Interesting. And then 9 of Cups. Pretty sure that's a honey container. His honey container is full. Then got something hanging over her shoulder. So maybe it's for tapping the honey or drumming so on the beehive so the bees leave. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, I just noticed there's also this thing on this other side. Some blob of honey, maybe? Might be honey coming out of the honey jar. I'm not sure. Like I said, I had questions. I'm looking to see. It's so funny because she texted me like 2 days ago to make sure that everything was on. What we could do until she can join us is I can shuffle the deck and we can do some 3-card draws for people just so you can see and I can see and you can all see what it's like to read with the deck. I'm just going to gather up the cards here, give them a few shuffles because they kind of got put into, they weren't in order. I just put them into the different suits so it'd be easier to look through. And since I have all 3 decks, okay, so Jamie found it. So on one of the cards, I'll have to send it to you tomorrow when I'm at home, says, Amor vincit omnia, love conquers all, and the skirting vertically. Okay, I'll have to keep an eye out for that. Maybe one of the queens? Or, all right, well, it's kind of interesting because while a lot of cards have figures, a lot of cards don't have figures. They just have bees. Yes, I've noticed that just holding these cards up for us to look at, there's quite a few Easter eggs in the cards. So, but thank you for pointing that out, Jamie. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that now. Oh yeah, these are the sides. They're very shiny purple. Purple's kind of bleeding out a little light here, but kind of like a lavender. And then these are the backs with more lavender for the bees. Okay. If you want me to do a 3-card draw for you, please put the word B in all capitals. And I will start putting together a little list. Gene says 12:21. It's 8:21 here. That's cool, Gene. The humidity here is so strong right now. Just shuffling, my cards started bowing from the humidity. I think it's like humidity's in the 80s or something. Computer, what's the humidity right now?
Currently, the humidity is 93%.
Oh my God, it's 93% humidity right now. No wonder it's so damp. It's raining where Gene is. I got you, Beth. So Gene, it's been raining here so much. We've had flooding on every single island. Every island. In fact, Kauai is still under a flood watch right now because the storm went that way. Ooh, I got some jumpers here. I think that's for all of us. And it's interesting. 10 of Cups and the Devil. That's an interesting combo there. So I'm feeling this is for the collective. Don't be so focused on making sure that you're happy that you end up neglecting the things that you need to take care of, okay? Don't be so focused on your bees that you don't notice the honeycomb in your belly, right? Don't be so focused, so focused on the happiness that you ignore the chains pulling you back, because those chains are self-imposed. You need to be able to shed them in order to find your happiness. Right? These figures in the double card are very interesting here. And I love how she's holding a rose. Interesting jumpers. Okay, let me shuffle a few more times and then we will get to Gene's reading. Beth says humidity is very good for complexion, keeps you young. And Ange says it is negative 20 Celsius, ooh, with 2 feet of snow on the ground. I literally would die. I can't, I used to say that I never get cold. Then I lived in Hawaii. And now my internal thermostat is set for a very, very narrow margin of comfort. If it's under 80, I'm too cold. If it's over 86, I'm too hot. I'm like, really? Really? Oh, the sun's coming out. Well, that's the first time I've seen the sun in probably 4 days. Nice. I think the storms are finally over. Although the weather app said that we're supposed to be having a thunderstorm right now. You have a point, Beth, and your blood naturally thins living in hot climates. And I've been here, well, we did a little hop over to the mainland when we got our son, but we had to be here. So we moved here in 2010 originally, had a little stint in 2016 back on the mainland. I went, get us home. I moved back within 14 months of leaving. And I literally couldn't handle the winter there. We were in Washington State, and I was in silk long johns, had probably 5 layers of clothes with a hat in the house. The heater was blasting. There was a fire going in the fireplace, and I was still literally blue and shaking because I couldn't get warm. I can't. I'm broken for weather. And it's funny because when I was in acupuncture school, there was a woman who had just moved back from Oahu, I want to say. And she said it took her 4 years to get over that, like till her blood got thick enough again to deal with the cold. So, okay, let's get to Jean's reading. Interesting. Okay. So we have 3 of Swords, the Sun, and 3 of Wands. Very interesting that. So I feel like you've been dealing with a lot of emotional trauma lately, a lot of dealing with heartache, heartbreak, and not necessarily romantic, just like feeling a little disappointed with life in a way, and wondering when you'll finally find that happiness you've been looking for. But I'm seeing with this 3 of Wands here is sometimes happiness is something we cannot find within. I know it's something that's an inside job and we need to work on the interior before we do the exterior work. But the 3 of Wands is saying that you've done the interior work. Now it's time to start doing the exterior work where you start getting out there. The bottom of the deck, I just noticed, is 4 of Swords. So the shadow energy is that like feeling like you need to rest, feeling like you've been battling so hard that you just need to come back to yourself, right? But then with the 3 of Wands popping up too, it's like, yes, come back to yourself, but then don't forget to share who you are with all of us. Yeah, that's kind of, that was what just came through. The guys were like, yeah, that's it. She understands. I'm like, okay. Hope that was helpful, Jean. There's definitely the 2 3s, definitely. There's that with the Sun in between, there's a lot of masculine energy coming through. So I'm feeling like maybe you need to embrace the masculine side of yourself a little more, right? Be a little more assertive with those around you and make sure that your happiness is the center of what's going on so that, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So if you're not filling your cup, how can you fill anyone else's? Oh, and she is a Leo sun. Let's see, next one is Beth. Beth says 3s represent obstacles and chances to learn. They do, but I'm also feeling like 3s is that like it's that connection to the greater world is how I see 3s, because a lot of the 3s are not just one-on-one. The 3s are about working with others to overcome those obstacles, right? So it's not about you doing it by yourself with the 3s. 3s is about making sure that you have others there to support you. At least that's how I see it, right? 1's the individual, 2's the couple, 3's the family in a way. So. Oh, bye, Jean. Thanks for being here. Beth, do you have a specific question, or are we just going to do a general for you? General in bulk. Okay. Yes. Since in bulk is tomorrow, why I wore the clothes. Yeah. Happy in bulk, everyone. First one that came up here is the Two of Pentacles. That's a really pretty Two of Pentacles. I just love the colors in these decks that she makes. Then we have the Seven of Swords. And the World. Oh, that's a pretty world. Okay, Beth. I'm seeing this Two of Pentacles as you juggling your spiritual side and your muggle side, so to speak. You're trying to find the balance between the two, right? Without giving up your wings, so to speak. But you need to be cautious that you don't outsmart yourself. Okay? Don't put yourself in a situation because you think you're being clever where things kind of spiral out of control, or that balance is lost. You're since Imbolc really is the start of the Great Wheel, or the Wheel of the Year. This is a reminder that you need to finish everything from the past so that you can start fresh tomorrow. So if there's anything going on, and of course this is in the middle, so there might be some situation you're still dealing with, you need to finalize it so that you can then start fresh, right? This is an ending and a beginning, right? This is the end of the majors, but it's also this, like, the start of the Fool's Journey again, right? So it's like, I've seen the majors shown in the Lemniscate, and so as soon as you're here, next step is the Fool. So until you can deal with the situation and find that balance, and then looking at the bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Pentacles here, which is interesting because, I'm not reading it as family. I'm reading it as you setting things up for yourself so that you're both materially well off and spiritually well off. And that's kind of what your focus is right now, right? And that's why you're juggling. There's just that word of caution, right? Make sure you deal with whatever situation you're dealing with right now so you can complete and start fresh. Oh, I wonder if Jamie's words were in of course, everything's shuffled now. The Queen of Cups, maybe? I'm not going to find it right now, of course. Beth says, that is totally my focus. And yes, it's a juggling act since moving back. You're very welcome. Yes. If anyone else would like a reading, I could just do capital B, as in B-E-E. And yeah, I haven't heard from Kelly. I'm not sure. Maybe she thought it started. Oh, wait. Here she is.
Hi. I had to
Hi. Perfect timing. I was just saying, I wonder where Kelly is. And here you are.
Here I am. Hi.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
I was just doing some readings.
Oh, are you?
With the new, yeah. It's okay. I had everything separated out and we talked about things a little bit. And then, of course, I shuffled everything to start doing readings.
I know you got to put it in order, right?
So I had some questions on some of the cards, but so tell us about the bees and why you started doing, all the decks.
The bees, I've loved bees. I like bees. And when I was just drawing one day, and then I just had this epiphany, and then I was sketching bees, first, and then I just had this whole sacred geometry kind of a thought process. And then I was just like, okay, I'm going to do a deck. And then I did the journey card was the first card. I just started doing it. And then I did like another one and another one and another one. And I just kept going. And then, in a month it was done. And then I was like, well, people do Kickstarters because I love to buy decks on Kickstarter.
Right.
So yeah, that's how it all started. And I didn't intend to do any more. And I didn't have the feeling to get any more. And then one day, it was a winter day, I just started the Oracle. And then the third one was very intentional. I thought, well, I want to do 3. And the journey of the sacred bee, people call it a Thoth deck, but it really isn't a Thoth deck. It's
right.
kind of a hybridization, if that's a word, but it's my interpretation of the tarot. And so I wanted to do a Rider-Waite-Smith or Smith-Waite version of it. And so that one took a little longer, and it was not mine, because I know that art so well, and I wanted it to be respectful and pay homage to Pamela Coleman Smith. However, not copy it. It's just hard,
Right.
It was harder. There's obviously some
finding that balance.
Absolutely her, inspired by her. So yeah.
I'm just flipping through real quick, try and find some of the cards I had questions about for you. So can you talk a little bit about how the thought process between why some cards have human figures and others don't?
There's really no reason behind that other than I let what happens happen when I sit down. And I know it is supposed to be from the perspective of the beekeeper.
Right.
So I would say it's as if you're looking onto the behavior would be the only way that I could respect it, or the messaging that they are giving to you or me. I would use that interpretation, or just interpret it as you would any tarot deck that you
right.
Because it is, I always say, people ask me specifically, why did you do this on this card? And I'm like, well, if I had a real intention and the symbolism is, and I'm very, really set on that and why, then I'll say yes. And the other one of them was the Temperance card. Somebody asked me, they emailed me and asked me why the hair is Medusa and snakes. And I said, well, it was supposed to be the alchemy, and then the ruffles in the dress going up with the Kundalini, right? So I started to do the serpents, and I'm like, well, that really doesn't work, but I do want to keep that serpenty thing. So I just made that into hair, right? So that becomes the hair. So there wasn't a real that just evolved into what I wanted it to be because it was going in a direction that didn't make sense.
Right.
And some things are just purely artistic, you know.
Sorry, I was trying to pull up the card.
Yeah. So
It's
she
actually one of
was,
my favorite cards on the deck,
is
truthfully.
it?
Yeah.
So she was spot on by seeing that had been, but then they were
Mhm.
changed to hair, but they were snakes. They were snakes.
Nice.
But you know
Oh,
what
I
I mean?
see.
It's like I don't if it doesn't feel like it's working for the meaning of that card, I'm not
Mhm.
gonna do it. But if it
Yeah.
has some sort of because it just comes through, right? But if it has some sort of way that it did make sense, I'll leave it there, you know? So
Beth says, I think her hair brings in the element of fire. And Beth also says, Kelly, I suggested that a large metaphysical store in Omaha carry your first deck, and the owner told me it's wildly popular. Thought I'd share.
Magical Omaha, I think, if that's the one, and I love sending decks to them. Yeah. They were waiting they're gonna do an order, and so thank you for suggesting that. I really, truly appreciate
Oh,
that.
aloha, Sadhana. Oops. Beth says, yep. Sadhana says, hi, Kelly and Jonathan. I haven't received my deck yet. Looking forward to unpacking it. She's in Canada, so
I sent it,
yeah. It's
and
on its way.
it's on its way, and there's goodies in it, and
Oh, so many goodies.
yeah, so
So
many
many
goodies.
goodies. Yes, I was like, there's more? There's more?
I know I get carried away.
No, I loved it. This is actually my first one of your Kickstarters I backed because
Oh,
I ended up buying these through your website after the Kickstarters. I think it was after the Wisdom and Sacred Bee came out. And Jilly of Little Zen Crone was so in love with the decks and like it's just like gushing over them that I ended up I'm like, and then of course she had you on her channel and hearing you speak about the decks and everything made me want to go get them. And then when I saw you doing this Kickstarter, I'm like, I have to do at least one of the Kickstarters.
oh, thank you, and all the people you mentioned, I just love so much. So yeah.
Well, don't we all love them? Right? So I do have some cards I have questions about.
Okay.
This is in no particular order.
Okay.
Princess of Cups, Page of Cups. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, she's trying to capture the fish in the cup. It looks like it's underwater. And then Peter J. Watts was here and he suggested that maybe she's just letting the fish go.
Oh. She's catching water, but the fish is the surprise. Just like in the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's like that fish is a surprise. She wasn't necessarily
Trying
catching
to
the
capture,
fish,
right?
but the fish is the gift and the inspiration that comes from that. Yeah.
Cool. So she doesn't even, I see now that she doesn't even see the fish. She's just looking at the cup.
Not necessarily, but the bee does see it. Because
Right.
the wisdom is in the bee and the bee's kind of helping that magic come to her, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that card doesn't really have that beekeeper feel to it.
Right.
And that's what I mean about like all the art isn't like necessarily strictly beehives and strictly beekeepers and traditional, you know, swarming and that kind of thing. So
like the Four of Wands is a beehive. I see this as being a protected beehive surrounded by lavender and bringing love to the world, right?
And the security of home,
Security of
because
home.
of the four, the force is the four pillars are what finally make that home, that stability in the cards, you know, kind of the beginning of. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I was curious about the Five of Wands. I see 5 drips.
Yeah.
That's representing the wands, the drips.
That was a card. So it's a strife card.
Mhm.
The strife and the energy that's happening in that is that there's a leak. There's something that needs to be
Oh,
addressed.
there's a leak. Okay, I
Yeah.
get it now. Yeah,
Read
yeah.
it as the Five of Wands, right? But
Right.
they need to really engage themselves in fixing it because they're masters at repair and getting the, like, if there's an intruder in the hive, they'll stop what they're doing, attack it, cover it up, get rid of
Mhm.
it. They're really protective and industrious and such a team thing. So, there's a breach, so to speak, and that's causing a
Right.
temporary, you know, stressor.
Or strife, right? Trying to
Conflict,
fix.
yeah, like a conflict that needs to be, it's not a biggie, it's not life threatening, but it has to be dealt with. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's beautiful. So this one is kind of a funny, funny one. I pulled out Justice because I'm like, there's a kitten. What? Is that your kitten?
Have you seen the kitten in other cards?
It's in.
It's
It's in.
the
What?
kitten is with the Fool.
Oh. Oh my God! Yeah, This is the only time I saw the kitten was
Yeah.
in Justice. That's funny.
So the
So the
kitten
kitten
is,
shows up in several cards. Then.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
in the Queen it shows up as Snuffles, the black cat
The black cat.
that
Right.
was in the Queen of Wands. So that kitty is there too. And I was really missing my kitty. I see a lot of people on YouTube and they have their cats, and I was really missing my cats. I don't live in a good place for cats. And my gray cat, he was a Russian blue gray, like he
Oh,
was
those
like
are pretty.
Gandalf cat. And
Yeah.
I had him for 14 years and he was just, my baby. I had another one too, but he was kind of feral and he got into trouble. So,
Oh.
and I live near open space, lots of coyotes, lots of owls,
Oh
and
yeah.
lots of hawks. And,
Mhm. Yeah,
I
my sister-in-law lost
scary.
several cats to owls. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The big horned owls. And then you see them and then they turn their heads and you're like, what? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Five of Swords. When I was interpreting it, I was seeing these are how am I doing this? I can't function right now. These are fresh sunflowers growing, and then these have been picked and are dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the thought of that is that, a lot of times we just think that resources are unlimited, or we just think that we can take anything that we want. But the
Mhm.
reality is, whatever you pick will die, and it'll die in your presence in front of you or whatever. And the beauty of the little, she picked them and she's realizing that that's what happens, but she didn't pick them all, right? And so the one that's opening up will continue to live. And so it's a reminder to just not take it all.
Mhm.
You still have some of that sanity. And that's why those other swords are with the bee, and it gets lighter, so there's that
Right.
hope. And that's kind of like the dude with his two, and then,
Mhm.
just
I kind of saw it as she realized how many have already been cut, so the bees are just taking the swords from her.
but that's good. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great interpretation of it. So usually people have better ones than me. So
So the star card, very dark compared to the rest of the deck.
yeah, the star. That's my birth card, right? So I'm an Aquarius, and
Hmm.
um, yesterday was my birthday,
Happy
and
birthday.
thank you. It's a 60, so it's like but I love the star card, and so that's Sadi, the star, and um, the the darkness isn't necessarily gloomy or dark. It's this
No.
illuminated
Mhm.
darkness, because she's of the sky,
Right.
stardust, and
Stardust.
she's both, right? And yeah, and so that's definitely a Pamela Coleman Smith,
Definitely. And then I was
adaptation.
going to ask, what is that symbol on her arm?
What do you want it to be?
Oh, okay.
The
It
point,
looks like a sigil to me.
it is a sigil. It is a sigil, and you'll
Yeah.
find that one on swords. I have little things, that Easter eggs that you can look
Easter
for.
eggs. Yes, I've been seeing some, and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh my god, I didn't notice that at first.
yeah. If
Yeah.
you look at the princesses, you'll see one.
Mhm.
There's Sire Vele Audere Tessere. And it's very small, but it's in there. Sometimes in the journey of the sacred bee, there's so many layers, and I'll leave them in there, even though you may not be able to necessarily see them, but I know they're there,
Right.
and I
Mhm.
know they're there, and then I feel like that's the energy that will come through, because that's what the cards do, right? We use this ink on paper and art, and it's always going to provoke a different feeling, a different thought, a different combination,
Mhm.
when they're all together. And I'm hoping that something else in each reading will um, pop out, because tarot is a lifelong journey, you know. So I've been reading. I got my first deck when I was 17. My mama gave it to me, and so that's what, I'm 60 now. That's a long time, and I'm
Mhm.
still learning, and I still, um, when I had God, I only had one book and two decks, you know, eh, forever,
Mhm.
and I only did the Celtic Cross, and I only shuffled a certain way, and you know. But yeah, the symbols, look for them, have fun with it. Um,
Oh, we have a question from Beth. Kelly, are the dots on some of the cards that look like New Zealand indigenous art patterns of bee flight? Asking for a friend. I think you're talking about the little white dots that you see in.
yeah, the dots are just it's just a art form, right? I wanted there's I didn't want there to be a complete disconnect. Um, and I
Mhm.
wanted there to be a connection in the art, because I did everything so differently, many of them so differently,
Mhm.
that I wanted there to be. What was the first one? The first one I did the dots on was the hermit, and I just sat there and I dotted his cloak. Um, and it just took forever, and I just had so much fun doing it, and I liked the result, and I wanted that to kind of go through, and I did it on the death card, and I did it, you know. So it's a theme, and some of them don't have it. There's so many
Mhm.
cards that I feel like, oh, I could go back and finish those and redo them more and more and more, but
Right.
there has to be a point where you launch.
There
So
has to be a point where you're just like, if I do any more, I'm going to ruin what I have.
yeah, so the dots are just artistic expression, really.
Yeah.
And I may have followed a pattern that may, if that's what you thought it was, Beth, then I think you should go with that, right?
And it was actually, I think, Peter J. Watson suggested it looked like the art patterns of bee flight.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but I think Peter's left. So that's why Beth is asking.
Fine.
And then Nine of
Oh,
Cups.
awesome story behind that one.
Yeah.
Um, Here in this country, when you say beekeeper, what do you think of? You think of the white
Right.
suit, the beehive suit, and you're fully in protected in there, and rightfully so.
Mhm.
um, but you know what? Bees and beekeeping have been around for thousands and thousands of years.
Thousands. Right.
And so I wanted to really make sure that that is understood, that there are beekeepers that have been working with bees in the wisdom that for just way before us. So that is an Ethiopian beekeeper, and he has a gourd with the honey, and that's his hive
Mhm.
that he carries. And it's he fascinated me, and I just fell in love with the whole concept of that. And then I started, you go down a rabbit hole. I started reading about it, and
Mhm.
you know but he's brought it into, if you look at where he's brought his wares into, that's kind of like a colonial city and stuff like that. So
Right.
there's been that
Rome almost.
right? There's been that transition from, wow, it's not really done that way except with you in your country. And
Right.
yeah.
I'm curious what that tool over her shoulder is. That stick.
Oh, yeah, that's his hive tool, right?
That's
So you know how that's his hive tool. And I don't know much about
You're not
how
sure
the
how it's work. Okay.
functionality, but you have to have the hive tool to open and close and all that stuff. So
But it's the tool to use to, like, open the hive, maybe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That was what I
Cool.
thought it was for sure. Yeah.
So interesting. Yeah, that was the one that just kind of jumped out at me. I'm like, wait, one of these things isn't like the others. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to
And
know
then
the
it's
story
the 9
behind
of
it.
it's the 9 of cups that there's a level of satisfaction in the success that
Mhm.
he's,
And you can see
in
it in
his
his face too.
yeah. And the fact that it's on I was just fascinated in the fact that he carries
He
them with
carries his bees with him.
he carries
Wow.
them, and then what a great I was just yeah, there's so much about that card that I hope comes through or at least pass the word
Wow.
because I want
Right.
it to be understood. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to do this, right? For the
I
cards
know.
that
I
people are
know.
searching for.
Thank you. Thank you for
Of
doing
course,
that.
of course. Um, so you think you're done with your bee decks, or you think
I
you have a
think I think I wanted to, um, do make it the triad.
three, right?
The the, the oracle sandwiched in between the 2 types of decks. They're both very, very different. The colors,
Mhm.
if you look at the colors, those are based on the triad of the color wheel,
Right.
which wasn't an intention at first, but I needed to know when I'm a graphic designer. When I wanted to, do the 3rd one, I really chose this, intentionally, this color scheme because I wanted it to be that, but I think the bees are I think that they're complete. They're never gonna leave my life, and they're never gonna leave yours because you have the decks. Um, but if I do a deck, I'm gonna wait for another spark.
Another spark of inspiration.
And when that happens like, I'm not working on one right now because when I force it, I have thought, "Well, what's my next deck gonna be?" And there's nothing there right now.
Right.
So, we'll see.
You have to wait till spirit moves you, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's the way it works.
Beth just reminded me that we were talking about the Ten of Pentacles because it's not like a typical Ten of Pentacles, right? You see like the family and everything.
Oh, yes. I always forget to share this card and, okay, so when you think of the 10 of Pentacles, normally you think
Mhm.
of legacy, right?
Right.
Ancestry,
Inheritance, right? Mhm.
inheritance and
Mhm.
ancestry. Okay, so there's so much in here. The flowers that you see are the chive flowers, and we generally use the root of that type of vegetation and full, like onions and
Right.
garlic. But this is what comes up from that. Although so there's more life. We use the bottom, and so there's
Mhm.
this legacy that happens. Now is she is representing also the gift of the legacy that has happened, right? So she's transitioning and she's in honeycomb. You can see that shape around
Mhm.
her. So she's kind of emerged in and then of course I had to put the tree of life in there.
Right.
Um, and so that's why those are the way they are. But it's the invitation to allow yourself to grow spiritually and evolve into and with the super consciousness of the bees.
Oh, I love that. And when I was originally looking at it, I was like, it's like she's floating in a river of honey.
Of honey?
She's
Yeah.
floating along in a river of honey. She's
Mhm.
just going with the flow and letting spirit take her where she needs to be.
I love
That's
that.
how I look.
Yes. I mean, isn't that a perfect interpretation that you have? I love that.
Mhm. Mhm. That's amazing. And Beth says, "Oh wow, yes, I love it. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh my god, all your decks are amazing.
Thank you.
So colorful. That's why I had to wear orange.
I can't. I know I can't live without color. My house is very subtle. Like my house is very subtle,
Mhm.
but my studio is kind of wild and crazy. Like it has a purple fainting couch and that kind of thing. Um, so I have that calmness, and then I have that wild
Well,
downstairs.
don't we all have that duality in ourselves?
I hope so.
One would think, right? Another reason why I wore the orange was I wanted to match
The
the
reading
spread.
high. Yay! I know. So I needed to do a mat. So I designed the fabric,
Mhm.
and then I send it to get to get produced, and then I get it back in these huge bolts. 56 inches by like whatever the yardage is I need, and then
Mhm.
I do extras, and then I cut it up, and I just have sewing sessions. I have this serger and 2 sewing machines, and I just like sew
Wow.
until
Do
I
you
get them
hand
done.
sew this yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. That makes it even more
So
special.
so each one, if you have one of those, I want you to know that I put my heart into each one, and if you see the flaws in them, just know that
That makes them
that
more
I did it.
perfect in my
Yeah.
mind,
They're not
truthfully.
mass produced, and, each one, I
No, that's amazing. And Beth says, "Yes, Kelly, take that compliment. Your decks are amazing."
thank you. Thanks, Beth.
So for those who did not back the Kickstarter, when are these going to be available on your website?
They're available.
They're
You
available now. Okay,
Yeah.
and the website is in the description box for anyone watching
Yeah,
back.
and, for international, I have to sell through Etsy because I had a problem with my licenses and, that kind
Right.
of thing, and I just didn't, uh feel right selling when I'm supposed to have a VAT license and everything like that, and I had trouble with the UK, and um but I still wanted to get there. So this was the perfect
Mm,
solution. You can still get it on Etsy
right.
if you're not in the
So
US.
for
So
international folks, go to Etsy and search for Sacred Bee.
yeah.
Yes. Um,
Or you can go to Tarot NL. In the Netherlands, they carry them. They carry
oh,
on my deck,
okay.
and that's probably easier and faster to
Faster because it's
to
not
get to
going from
tarot.nl in the
right.
Netherlands. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
great store,
Okay.
great store.
Ooh, to see if they ship to Hawaii now.
Right?
So I have to share. You guys. There's so many extras, like 3 bookmarks, tons of posters. Not posters, like picture cards, postcards, stickers. I mean,
Can't help it.
it's amazing. I love it. It
I'm
just
a tangible I'm a you know, most of the things are those I carve those bookmarks in-house because I have a glow forge. If you don't know what that is, you should look
oh
into
wow.
it, and I had to, I come from printing and graphic design and doing it tangibly, and it's evolved into digital, right? And so I still like to do the other things, by hand, and I think that's why I wanted to sew, and that's why I wanted to, I design it, and then yeah, and so then I put the wood into my carver, and then I put it over there, and it etches and cuts to my specifications,
It's pretty.
and that's how I make the card stands
Mhm.
and all of the other
Yeah, where
wooden
did the card stand go?
that you see there. And this is my next
Not
project, you
sure.
guys. For those who are um, don't have the decks, I'm I've already done the prototype in cardboard, but I'm gonna do a box that they can all fit in.
I can all fit in. Okay.
Yeah, and right now the hinge isn't it's gonna have this really elaborate hinge where the wood just fits in perfectly, and then, but
Mhm.
it's not quite perfect yet. And then all this stuff
A work in
happened with
progress.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So
Right, because I only have the bag for the key for the Sacred Bee. I never got the bags for the other ones, which is okay.
oh, do I need to send you I'll send you those.
Are you sure?
Yeah, if I mean, sometimes I didn't put all of the I missed one person, I didn't give them their pouch, and, and I'm so sorry. and I think I left something else out of another person's, and I'll just send it to
Well,
you.
you're only human, so
Yeah. Yeah.
mistakes happen.
I tried to be careful. I checked everything, but yeah, me, and I'm,
Mm.
all over the place. So,
No, I get it. I'm a perfectionist myself, so anytime there's like I do a little mistake, it's like, oh my god, how could I do that? And it's like, wait, it's not a big deal.
it won't be a big deal tomorrow, but at the moment, in the moment,
In the moment, it's like,
yeah,
oh my god.
I know.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Being a Virgo.
Ooh, Virgo. Yeah, I like to partner with Virgos.
Ooh.
They get shit done. Yeah. Yeah. My bestie's a Virgo, and she's just, yeah. I can model. I can look. Okay, how are you doing it? What are you doing? How are you getting it done? Okay. That and Capricorns. I need them in my life.
My son's a Capricorn.
Oh yeah? There we go.
Although it's funny because his aunt she's really into astrology, so she wanted his like info so she could do a full chart birth aunt. And yeah, it turns out like half his signs are Capricorn.
Right.
Like, oh my god, no wonder he's so goat-headed. Yes,
That's
Beth.
so funny.
Beth's so funny. 2 Virgos in the house. Beth and I have the same birthday.
Yay! Oh, the same birthday even. That's awesome.
September 7th. And Beth is a Virgo with double Capricorn.
That's so funny. It's like you were speaking to her.
That is so funny. Yeah, I'm Virgo sun, Libra moon, Taurus rising. So I get very indecisive, but then I get bullheaded about being indecisive.
Yeah, and grounded. So I'm an Aquarius with a Leo rising and an Aries moon. So that's the introvert, extrovert polarity going
You're
on.
You're extrovert or introvert? Or introvert, extrovert?
Yeah. The only reason I can be talking to you comfortably and not nervous is because we are chatting one-on-one and I'm unaware of who's actually the audience. But if there's an audience, I'll be like, or the camera. But these conversations are very personable and, and they're more intimate.
It's almost like doing FaceTime or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I like them, and I'm not, hiding under a shell.
Oh, thanks for reminding me, Beth. So earlier, the question came up, is the Empress and the High Priestess modeled after people in your life?
No, I don't think that they are actually people in my life. But the personas of them are what I would want to be. I would want to be that. The High Priestess is just
High Priestess here. Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Here's the High Priestess.
Yeah, so her body is very traditional of the card, and the fact that she's sitting in between the pillars. But there is a person that I admire. This doesn't look anything like them, but the wisdom and the way that she knows so much, but doesn't need to actually explain it to you in your face, right? It's very, very, very intense. So, and then the Empress, I just the bounty and the Mother Earth and the bounty and and I use a lot of statues in I think the 9 of Pentacles that's a statue too. And then I take the picture of the statue and then I personify them or bring them.
I love how it's Venus and then you got a Venus flytrap in the corner.
Yeah, I know. Some of the stuff is funny, you guys, and I hope it's tongue in cheek, but I want you to know that is Venus. I want that to come to mind sometimes. And so if it pops out of you, look at that. What does Venus have to do with this right now? So yeah, it's a Venus. I mean, usually you would see the Venus sign or something like that.
Right.
So I
No, I
think I
love
have it.
the little Easter eggs you dropped in the cards.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
there's
all right.
there's also you have to get a magnifying glass, and then I'm gonna let you guys look for the Empress, that she has a saying on her dress. But it's so you have to look for it.
Oh, that's the one Jamie was talking about. It's on the Empress's dress. I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, my camera's gonna focus though. Wait,
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
And then the princesses
Yeah, I see
have
it. I can see it with my naked eye, but
the princesses have them. The you know what's funny is that when I'm working on these, I'm really I really, you know, bring them in and I start working on the detail. And so the words, they came out much smaller than I thought. So you can't really see them, but they're there.
Well, no, it's funny because someone who was in here a little earlier, Jamie Kelly, Wandering Mountain Bardic Path, she thought it was in the High Priestess's dress. So I was like looking and looking and looking, like there's nothing there. And then she's like, I know it's on one of those cards. Maybe Justice. And no, it's the Empress. Yeah.
So you had to really look. So now you've built a better relationship with all of those cards. So
Definitely. Right. Well, that's why I love doing these kind of chats with the deck creator, because deck creators can give you insight that like you wouldn't get otherwise. So
yeah.
you know,
And
I
that's
just
good
I
in
love
that.
seeing the deck from the creator's point of view, because then you
Yeah.
can see it from the inside.
Yeah. And I do want people to see it from my point of view, but it's also, I don't want you to make my point of view the way the card,
Point of
the
view,
meaning
right?
of the card for you, because I'm a broken record, but I always say, make this deck your own, make this deck your own.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be, you know, your deck. And I love sharing what my process is, because it's, you know, I mean, I sometimes look at this and I'm like, I did do that. And sometimes I don't even remember doing it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like the books, I don't remember what I wrote. Like if you ask me for something in the book, I'm going to have to open it up. And
Right.
because think about how much is in there. It's like, I'd
Right.
have to,
And it's a
oh,
third book too.
let me get the page and look it up. So I don't, and I was like, whoa, I guess I wrote that. So
Mhm. You're not the
it's like,
only creator I've seen who has to like look in the book for the meaning of their own card. So nothing new.
right?
Okay. Is there anything you want to leave us with before we get going?
No,
Any
I'm not going to.
news? Any words of wisdom?
No, I think you all are wise. I'm just filled with so much gratitude that the decks have been received so well, and I'm astonished by that. Really humbled. I just don't. I did a Kickstarter so I could get something printed, and I just
Right.
was,
And now your decks are out in the world.
yeah, they're out in the world, and now they're there, they're yours and stuff, and I love it, and I love looking at them, and I haven't I haven't looked at the Journey of the Sacred Bee in a long time. I should go look at it
Mhm.
for a while. You know, I don't watch interviews of myself. I don't look at the deck all the time. So, but you know, if go to my website and check out what I have. I mean, most of the things, well, some of them are printed or whatever, but I've made a lot of the items on there, and hopefully that energy will come through if you want any of that.
I just have to go the three together. That's just an amazing sight.
Yeah. And I hope you put them on your bookshelf together so that you can see the spines together and the colors pop out at you. And yeah.
Yes, the spines together are amazing too.
Yeah. They're all a little different. I mean, I wasn't that particular about like making sure that they were all
No, but you can tell that they're sister decks.
yeah,
Right?
they're
Just like sisters don't look identical, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, Beth says, this was awesome. Thank you both for broadening my horizon. Of course. That's why I do this
Thank
stuff.
you, Beth. It's been
Thank
fun
you, Beth, for being here. Yes.
chatting.
Throwing
Yeah.
out questions that I was spacing out on. So just
Yeah.
one moment, Kelly. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Keep in touch. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the clickety stuff. And don't forget to come back. Leave a comment down below. The more comments the videos get, the higher up they go in the algorithms. So, if you comment after the video is done, that'll help too, if you've already liked and subscribed. And make sure that you are subscribed, because there's been several times I go to someone's YouTube channel that I know I'm subscribed to, and it says that I'm not subscribed. So YouTube has this algorithm that if you don't click on a channel in a certain amount of time, and they automatically unsubscribe you or something. I'm not even sure.
Oh, well, that answers why I lose some things that I thought should be right there in my feed. So who knows what they do? Right.
That's the same. I mean, and for people who have a channel, you'll see that your numbers kind of go up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's that same thing. It's because people are subscribing, but then YouTube's coming in and unsubscribing people.
That's your audience. I'm, well, Instagram does the same thing. So.
Right. What are you going to do? You just got to remind people, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when these things happen.
Subscribe. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
And I will see you next time. In just one moment, Kelly.
Okay.
Bye.